The Divinity is the first product from this manufacturer I'm reviewing. It's a so-called R2R NOS ladder converter that supports 1536 kHz 24-bit PCM and DSD1024 via I²S or USB. It costs around €2,000. These high sampling rates are not supported on the digital IES3 inputs, that is AES-EBU, SPDIF, coaxial and Toslink optical. These are limited by standard to 192 kHz 24-bit and DSD64. Higher sampling rates are of limited use as little music is available at sampling rates above 192 kHz. Upsampling to high sampling rates above 384 kHz generally doesn't improve the sound quality. Time to consider where the Divinity fits into the stereo system. Because it's a digital to analog converter, or DAC for short, it needs to be connected to an amplifier and speakers or headphones. The input side requires a digital source, such as a CD player or network player. For the latter, you'll need to connect it to your router with a network cable. This way it can connect to internet radio and streaming services like Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon Music and others. If you have music on your computer or NAS, it can play it too. You control the Divinity with the optional remote control. The streamer is usually controlled via a smartphone or tablet. Because the Divinity has 6 inputs, you can also connect other digital sources, such as a CD player, game console, DVD player or even a TV. The Divinity has a high-quality digital volume control, so a separate preamplifier is not needed. A power amplifier will suffice. Or active speakers with analog inputs, of course. The Divinity is available in silver and black, as the industry calls anodized aluminium, and dark grey finish. It stands on 3 conical plastic feet. It measures 330 by 332 by 107 mm, 13 by 13.1 by 4.2 inches, and weighs 10.1 kilograms, 22.3 pounds. On the left side of the front panel, we see the standby button, the small menu button and the input button. A 3.12-inch OLED screen displays the volume settings, sample rate, phase and selected input. On the right is the volume control, which doubles as a scrolling function for menus. The optional all-metal remote control is beautifully designed. The buttons are self-explanatory. The analog input buttons have no functions on the Divinity. It is powered by a single coin cell battery. It is notable that the lid is held in place by 2 metal spring-loaded balls, one on each side. As we will see later, the Divinity is divided into 2 layers inside, separated by a metal plate. The lower section houses the AC power supply parts, and therefore the IC mains connection is located at the bottom center. All digital and analog connections are on the upper layer. First, the digital inputs. The USB audio class 2 input on USB-B connector, the SPDIF coaxial on RCA, I²S number 1 and I²S number 2 both on HDMI, optical on Toslink and AES-EBU on XLR. The analog outputs are available as unbalanced on RCA and balanced on XLR. The all-metal enclosure is divided into a lower and an upper layer, separated by a 1.5 mm thick metal plate. The lower section contains a small switching power supply, which powers the automatic voltage selection and standby mode, thanks to its very low standby power consumption. 2 large O-shaped transformers step down the mains voltage to lower voltages which are connected to the upper layer via 3 sets of 2 wires. The electronics for the control functions and the displays are also located on the printed circuit board in the lower layer. The top layer contains the audio electronics. This is where the 3 low voltage AC voltages from the transformers are connected. The AC to DC rectification and regulation are performed here. The digital input circuits, the clock, the microprocessor and the ladder converters are powered separately. The USB input board is based on an ST microelectronics chip and is inspired by the AMR design. DACs are quite simple to operate. Connect the source's digital interconnect to the corresponding input on the DAC. Connect the analog outputs to the amplifier or active speakers. Connect the power supply. Select the input in use and adjust the volume. Input selection is made using the small input selector button on the front panel or on the remote control. By pressing the menu button, you can select the pinout for I²S1 and I²S2. Swap the left and right channels, reverse the polarity, known in good high-end tradition as phase, and perform an update. Selecting the correct pinout for the I²S inputs is done by comparing the source's pinout specifications with the table in the manual. The Divinity was connected over Grim Audio SQM XLR cables to the Air Acoustics AX520 amplifier. That in turn drives the PMC FAC12 signature loudspeakers on Stack Audio OVA 17 isolators and connected over I²S Robinhood Zero loudspeaker cable. The digital source was the Magna Mano Ultra MK3 Farad streamer running Gentoo player. It was connected to the Divinity over a short 4K UHD Tuoso HDMI cable. The Mano was used as room endpoint. The switch was the Zixel GS1900-10 HP that was connected over the Network Acoustics eNode 2 system Ethernet filtering. Also connected to the Zixel switch was the Zixel T56 modem/router, which was connected to the 1 gigabit Odido glass fiber internet connection via a Nokia media converter. The small green computer Sonic transporter i7 CDR was connected to the Zixel switch via a patch cable and is running Roon server. To control Roon, I used an iPad Pro 2 running the Roon remote app. Price-wise, the Divinity is roughly in the same price range as my reference, the respected Olo Audio Cyan 2. The Divinity is a bit more expensive, but it has a volume control, a display, 2 I²S inputs with selectable pinout and a manual input selection. However, in terms of sound, they are virtually identical. The timbre is roughly the same, as is the resolution, with the exception of the bass. Here the Divinity is slightly better. The same applies to the sibilance control. This places the Divinity in the higher regions of setup 1B. This is the first Garlubidor product I reviewed, and it was a pleasure. The build quality and components used are excellent for its class. The all-metal remote control is beautifully constructed. The Divinity has 6 inputs, volume control and balanced outputs that deliver 4 volts at 0 dBFS, which is sufficient to drive most power amplifiers. So it can be used as a digital preamplifier. The dark grey finish is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, so a blank metal version might be recommended for those who are sensitive to fingerprints. The website doesn't list any distributors, but they do have their own online store. That brings us to the end of this video. A new one is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe or follow me on Patreon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram or TikTok. Patreon and YouTube Premium members get early access and no ads. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. It really helps. A huge thank you to everyone who supports the channel financially. It keeps me independent and motivated. Just €1, pound or dollar makes a difference. It's easily done using the QR code on screen or the links in the description to contribute. I'm Hans Beekhuizen. Thank you for watching. And whatever you do, enjoy the music.